everybody. Thank you so much for joining in today um, in the Polygon Discord for another AMA. Today, we are speaking with a really exciting project called Super Protocol, and we have Alex and Dimitri here from the core team. How are you guys doing today?
Awesome.
Oh, good. Nice to be here.
I'm very excited to be here. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual. Really excited to have you guys here to speak with the Polygon community. Um, and really excited to find out more about Super Protocol. But before we get into Super Protocol, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Let us know who you are, what's your background, and what got you into crypto and ultimately like working on Super Protocol.
Yes, that's a really great question before we start. Me personally, my name is Alex. I'm Chief Marketing of Super Protocol, and I'm doing all the outside communication stuff and creating the community and building the community of developers and making Super Protocol well known for everyone. So that's for my side. And my background in crypto, I'm already 7 years there. For the last couple of years, raised 7+ million for several Web3 and GameFi startups, and achieved great community numbers like 100K and 400K in crypto bank project. So I'm pretty well skilled in crypto. So, and I'm really happy to finally find some really gem project to work on, because Super Protocol is the infrastructure of something big, really big thing that is awaited us in the Web3.
Yeah, so as for me, my name is Dmitry. I'm a product manager at Super Protocol. In terms of background, I've got a business information background as well as computer science for the most part. I've been working inside this crypto Web3 area for like a year at this point. So yeah, that's that.
Fantastic. I also have only been in the industry, well, working in the industry for about a year. I've been invested for a bit longer, but anyways, um, yeah, great to have you both here. Great to meet the both of you and finally speak with you over the microphone. Um, so yeah, let's jump into Super Protocol. Um, so it's been described as a Web3 confidential super cloud. And I'm wondering if you could just like break down what that means, as well as like what is confidential computing. It sounds like some pretty big brain um, stuff going on. So yeah, I'd love to hear it in your own words what all that means.
Yeah, I think I can start with that. So there's a lot of effort has been put in place, to sort of synergize the traditional internet, traditional cloud services that we all know these days, and the Web3 space. So what Super Protocol is trying to achieve, it basically tries to, create some sort of Web3 cloud services in a decentralized and permissionless nature, which is obviously native for Web3 space. So yeah, we're trying to create a decentralized alternative, which is, of course, a very challenging task to do. But because you have to, you have to make sure that the code, the data, and some extra information, metadata as well, and so on and so forth, all that stuff is completely secure, and it's not applicable to any sort of unauthorized changes, modifications, etc., etc.
So yeah, the main essence is that currently we cannot just say that Web3 is a Web3, because it's not like fully decentralized. Too many services still use centralized clouds, and there is no alternative in terms of clouds currently. So three big players control 70% of the market, and there is actually all of them are centralized. So by claiming that Web3 is decentralized, it's like be not so honest. So we are here like Super Protocol. We are here as infrastructure, fully decentralized and fully compatible with Web3.
Awesome. That's great to hear that you're keeping the Web3 ethos and prioritizing that. I'm curious, you guys, what what's the current stage of development, and are you building this on Polygon?
Yeah, so currently we're undergoing our testnet phase number 1. There's going to be several more iterations. I don't want to give the exact number, but there's going to be a few more. And at this point, we have a couple of machines inside our network, and we can get into this later on, I guess, and I can show you how our testnet actually operates. Yeah, to give you a little bit of a greater detail on that.
Yeah, so we actually started building Super Protocol since 2021, and the original idea came in 2020. When it's actually interesting story to leverage on, because our team is currently one of the most expertise teams in the field of confidential computing, and Super Protocol is not the first company which was created by our founder and CEO Nukri Bashirur. So it's actually the third company, and all of these companies were built around data confidentiality, and the Super Protocol is also leveraging on confidential computing technology, by mixing it also with blockchain technology. And in terms of blockchain technology, we use Polygon and have originally chosen Polygon due to its speed, of course, and availability. So Polygon is actually the most suitable solution in terms of blockchain for the needs of confidential computing. Maybe Dmitry can leverage more on the confidential computing stuff in terms of Super Protocol and how it actually getting around blockchain and Polygon as well.
Yeah, totally. So unlike traditional cloud service providers, at Super Protocol we have confidentiality. Namely, we are leveraging TE technology. TE stands for Trusted Execution Environment. So in simple words, this is a special area inside the CPU where you can run your solution with knowing that there's no any sort of effects, no one can modify your solution, no one can change the code, no one has any sort of impact on that. And this is a very crucial thing, because if you think of the current technology which is out there right now, for example, encryption. Yeah, we know how to encrypt data when it's in transition. There's such things as TLS, HTTPS. The technology is out there and you can use it. Also, we have technology for storing the data securely in a secure manner. There's secure databases and so on and so forth. But what happens when you're actually processing the data? What happens when you're running the code inside the CPU? The data is not fully secure, and this is where TE comes in. This is where TE takes a crucial part. So TE helps you to be 100% certain that your solution is secure when it's in the execution stage. So that's how I would put this in simple words.
Yeah, so and Super Protocol is unlike AWS is decentralized, and Super Protocol is more like an Uber of a cloud. So you can think of Super Protocol, yeah, like an Uber, because Super Protocol don't own any clouds or solutions. Super Protocol is a protocol which actually unites all the solutions, clouds, data providers in the whole ecosystem. So this ecosystem actually should be accounted somehow. That's where blockchain actually helps. And due to just imagine how many orders can be in AWS, for example, in a day. So if Super Protocol is going to replace centralized analogs of like old clouds, so you need to think for far more than like a year or more. So we choose Polygon because Polygon can literally hold all these operations, can process all these operations in terms of confidential computing orders and TE providers and solution providers as well. So Super Protocol is like an ecosystem where every participant can be useful. So literally, if you own your own cloud, you can be like a physical person who own a cloud, for example, not a cloud but a server, T compatible server, which is supporting trusted execution environment technology. You can join Super Protocol network and become T provider and also benefit and earn TE tokens. So moreover, you can also become solution provider, which is Dmitry mentions that we are in a phase 1 of testnet. Actually, we launched our private testnet back in January of this year. We proved that it is possible to decentralize confidential computing. So currently we run a public testnet. The phase 1 is invite mode only. We are welcoming the Python developers specifically, but actually it's open for everyone. You can actually join the testnet right now. There is a request form on our website with a highlighted button, join testnet. You can leave a request. We will process it like in 24 hours. You will be able to join testnet to execute your own orders which are based on the existing solutions which are already deployed on Super Protocol, like face recognition, voice recognition, and so on. So like on the usual cloud, like on AWS, you see such solutions like AI processing, ML processing tools. So on Super Protocol, all the developers actually are welcome to build such solutions, because when we launch mainnet, those solutions can be easily transferred into the mainnet, and our clients, Web3 startups, Web3 existing companies, for example, who need unstoppability, who need permissionless and trustless infrastructure, they can start using your solutions, which you already deployed on our example. And I think it's important to mention that we are decentralized, unlike AWS, but we are actually as simple as AWS, so you won't need any specific knowledges in confidential computing. You will need we have an SDK, so it's just one click, and you may deploy any solution like you are deploying in traditional cloud. So that's it.
Wow, that's incredible. If anybody has any questions for Dimitri or Alex, make sure to just drop them in the chat. And feel free to ask technical questions too. I know this is a pretty fascinating subject. One question I have: would you say that AWS is your main competitor, and what would you say is like the main benefits to using your services over a competitor's services?
First of all, I would love to say that we actually really love to hear your questions. Ask them in comments, because we got a contest for the best question. It's our good tradition to stimulate to think you around about some maybe technical stuff or so. So feel free to drop any interesting question. The best question will be awarded. Answering your question, Aiden. So specifically, we can like think in terms of Web3 first of all. So who needs unstoppable and permissions and trustless infrastructure? Any Web3 project, literally, because Web3 is all around the world. It's actually global. It should be available 24/7. So currently we got a lot of cases, like maybe you heard, maybe not. Like for last 5 months, there were like 5 outages of MetaMask. So I think it's actually not so great for the Web3 audience that MetaMask, for example, still uses Infura. also centralized and could be like out for a couple of hours, and users will suffer. So first of all, we can start thinking in the field of Web3. So literally, yeah, we will compete. We are competing with AWS and other cloud services, which are actually outdated for Web3. So I cannot like mark it like a competition. It's like an evolution of the cloud for the Web3 needs. Moreover, we are also compatible for many Web2 solutions and actually big companies who work with data and actually who got a lot of data, for example, even for monetize this data. Confidential computing is not only about unstoppability, it's also about privacy, security, like permissionless and trustless means that you don't need to trust actually anyone. That's the point of Web3, which can literally, like brought to Web2, where big companies got a lot of data which they need to confidentially process, and they can use super protocol for this type of needs. It could be useful not only like for DeFi projects who need to process like a credit scoring for their clients, which they cannot actually perform on an open blockchain. They need something confidential because it's a sensitive data, as well as big corporations from Web2 do need right protections. And actually, the previous company which Nukri and the team built before was dealing with rights protection and serving such clients as Disney, Pearson, Cloud Group, and even Microsoft. So it's actually one of the fields where super protocol can be useful as well. And by bringing the decentralized and unstoppable infrastructure, it can be literally a great replacement for these outdated clouds. Not just thinking about their size, but let's think about the effectiveness and the current needs of Web3.
Oh, awesome. We got a ton of questions coming in now. So we'll start with Calpit. They're wondering, being confidential increases the misuse of it. How will Super Protocol cope up with it? I think what they're wondering about is like, since everything is confidential, does that pose any extra risk to Super Protocol, and does that cause like increased concern surrounding people doing like I guess malicious or abusive activities?
It's a really great question, which maybe like flying in the air, because literally there is no like for there's no like responsibility in terms of super protocol, because the only one who responsible is a TE compatible device. So it's a protected CPU. Dmitry mentioned this already before. Maybe Dmitry can leverage more on this and explain that we actually protect from any malicious attacks, and we actually can protect any Web3 app. I mean, the app, for example, like you got an NFT marketplace and someone can inject a malicious code because you also host your front end on a centralized cloud provider. So anyone can access it and modify. And in Super Protocol, first of all, confidentiality and decentralization as well brings like an unstoppable protection for any type of your data, actually. So maybe, Dmitry, you can leverage more on technology.
Yeah, so because we're using, as I said, T technology, your solution will always be secure. That's the first thing. And from there, speaking of the stack of the technologies that we're utilizing, I have to mention that the list is actually quite long. Another thing we have in place is the sort of consensus mechanism, which makes sure that the TE node, that all the TE nodes which our network consists of, are performing really, really well. That's the first thing, and then that you have to make sure somehow that no malicious activity is happening. So this consensus, this is a separate thing from usual normal consensus mechanism on the blockchain. This is something I would say bespoke, And it really helps to understand that the TE is doing right, is doing correct. So yeah.
Awesome. Next
Oh,
question.
hope you answered the question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, hope we answered this question.
Yeah. I think that was a great answer. Yeah, Kelpit confirms. St. Moritz is wondering, will there be a token associated with your project? And what will its utility or role within the project be?
Yeah, there's
Uh,
going to be a token, I should say. The token, the ticker of the token is TE, stands for obviously TE technology. It will be out at some point further down the line. We don't know the exact date, and it's really hard to predict. But nonetheless, this token will be used for paying the services inside the protocol, for deposits. For example, if you have a TE compatible machine and you want to be part of the network, you have to pay a deposit in order to become this part of the network. So that's that. Then any sort of economic activities are associated with the TE token. Once again, further down the line, we're gonna have DAO, which will actually taking over the protocol and rule everything. Yeah, it will decide what kind of functionality is the protocol is lacking, what kind of new features should be added, etc., etc. And also, I have to mention certain grants, programs, rewarding mechanisms, incentives. All that sort of activities are related to the T token.
Yeah, I'll definitely add that a couple of incentive programs will be announced really soon. As we already said, that currently is phase one of testnet is going on. It's actually any Python developer can join it for now and deploy their own solutions, and to test how it could be run on decentralized and confidential network. So, moreover, the testnet phase 2 will definitely have big incentives, and the phase 1. We will announce like in a week the Python competition where you will be able to build your own solution on the top of Super Protocol, and challenge for the price in TE tokens that's Dmitry mentioned. So, and it's important to say that we actually think about the DAO, and the community should actually be the part of the protocol, and to direct where to grow and where to evolve, because actually the main idea of Super Protocol is to bring the computational power back to the community, because what we see right now is like really three global players are controlling all the cloud services, and this we're repeating in terms of what we are building here in Web3, and for the sake of Web3.
Awesome. I'm gonna just read out the next two questions. They kind of go hand in hand with each other. Confidential computing is not a technology that is entirely popular yet in the crypto space, yet we have projects like Eternity and Metamir Cloud being quite successful with it. What special advantage does Super Protocol provide? And then San Bernabo is asking, projects like Metamir even provide avenue for you to sell any of your selected data which you choose to protect. Is this something achievable with Super Protocol?
Yeah, data monetization is something that's going to be happening later on. If you, for example, a data scientist, and you have some arrays of data, then you'll be able to monetize it. This is a very valuable information. For example, it's a very challenging task actually to find some really high quality data sets on the internet. It's not easy to do. I mean, yeah, it's feasible, but at the same time, it's not an easy task. So if someone has really large and quality data, then they can monetize it by sort of selling it to others, and no one will get access to this data once again because of the TE. And sorry, what was the first part of the question?
They're
it was
asking
about
if you're
that confidential.
familiar. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was about that confidential computing is actually not very popular right now in Web3 because confidential computing is not like a very like old theme because confidential computing like first Intel SGX came in 2015. By the way, Super Protocol team was working with Intel SGX and currently closely working with SGX team as well. So we are technologically backed by Intel, and this in terms of confidential computing, I agree that it's not like a new theme. It's not in Web3, but it is very useful technology to Web3 because it's just starting to just become something feasible and something that actually could be useful, and it actually became on its step of evolution to be useful right now, and of course it started rising. And Super Protocol, what actually differs us from different competitors who use confidential computing, you can simply just imagine AWS, but in the Web3 space, and all this stuff that you actually can perform on this sort of a cloud, you will be able to perform on Super Protocol. So we are building a big ecosystem where infrastructure as a service will present, as well as platforms as a service and software as a service, and all of this will be community driven, and of course it will be a great leverage for Web3 community in general.
Got a great question coming in from Whack001 Drakti. Interesting name. They're wondering, how can I get started with Super Protocol?
Actually, great question. Not long time ago, Dmitry made some videos to YouTube, to our YouTube. You can check it out. There is a demo on how to start using the testnet. Actually, you can just drop a request into our form. You can find out it on our website, superprotocol.com. It's simple. So you can drop a request into our testnet. We'll send you an invitation in 24 hours. You can check out what's going on in testnet, maybe try to deploy your own solutions. And if you're asking as a client, as a Web3 project, for example, how to join Super Protocol, we are planning to release mainnet next year after a couple more phases of testnet, which actually the second phase will be actually really interesting for Web3 developers, because there will be decentralized hostings, decentralized domains released, and actually Super Protocols is already ready to like do complex applications with the front end. So we will announce the next phase like in January. So just stay updated.
Yeah. Sorry, I know you mentioned the next phase. Do you want to just recap when that is? Again, we had someone asking about that.
Sorry, what phase? About the testnets you
Yeah, you're
mentioned.
saying that goes in January?
Yes, this is the second phase. Will go in January. Yeah, it's still the first phase. So the testnet, Jada was asking. The testnet was launched in January. In January, we launched the private testnet. So we have just tested for ourselves that our hypothesis that it's possible to global scale all of this and proven the concept. So we launched the first phase, the public phase, in late September, and we are finalizing it, like wrapping it up and launching the joint contest for the next phase for the Python devs. So it's, I think, 3 months, not so long for testnet phase, and we got more than 2,000 participants there. So I think it's just a great result.
All right.
Is it clear now, JD, Emir?
Yeah, I think that was a very clear answer, but if not, Jared, let us know. Perfect, perfect.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
nice.
yeah, lots of really good questions coming in from the community today. Really appreciate that, guys. Um, one thing I'm curious, who would you define as your target audience?
Oh, actually, we can speak in like in a couple of fields of target audience. So if we are building currently, our target audience first of all is developers. So as we are building an ecosystem of a cloud, where solution providers will be also from the community, developers from the community. So this testnet phases are actually focused on bringing developers into super protocol ecosystem. So they will become, initially when we'll launch the mainnet, they will become solution providers. This third phase of testnets, where we actually announce the support of external T providers. So literally anyone who owns a cloud device, I mean a server, a T compatible server, could join Super Protocol. They actually also could be our target audience, and they are our target audience. Because actually, I maybe elaborate more on this topic, because we already connected several partners. Actually, anyone, as I said, can become T provider. So it can be just a private person, or it can be like a cloud company, for example, who have unused cloud T compatible powers. So actually, we got already several partners who joined Super Protocol, like Cloud Sigma, and several more clouds. So we are expanding the T network and T providers. Like if you own a cloud in any type of ownership, you can become a T provider. So it's a part of a target audience as well. Also, data owners. So we already speak about this couple of times, and there were also a question about this as well. So data providers are as well our target audience, and there's maybe more like corporations are targeted. But as Dmitry said, like models, data models are also valuable. And like a cherry over top, the initial client when we launch the mainnet, it could be literally any Web3 company or startup or project or D app who needs decentralization, who needs unstoppable and permissionless infrastructure. So, which is actually critical and crucial for Web3.
Um, okay. Um, we've got a few people that were asking about the costs associated with using Super Protocol, and I was also curious then how you guys generate revenue, if you guys generate revenue, and yeah, yeah, I think those are two good questions for now.
So this is a great question. However, as I said, we are still on a testnet phase. The mainnet is planned to launch next year. So as you can see, we're not generating revenue right now. However, that's
Of course, I mean in future though.
in the future. It's really simple. Clients who will need trusted solutions for I mean decentralized and confidential clouds. they will come and pay for the services. And the services, I believe we will show some testnet today. You will be able to see how these services like combining into the initial like final complete service. So the revenue will be distributed between cloud providers, I mean TE providers, between solution providers, and between data providers who are exactly in this type of order. So maybe Dmitry can show some testnet.
Yeah, sure, I can go ahead. Yeah, give me a sec. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so
Yeah, I want to encourage everybody to tune in on the screen share. Looks great.
yes, so once you open up Super Protocol platform, this is what it looks like. We've got our wallet connected to the platform. We've got our balance. Now I have to say that we're using Matic Testnet Mumbai with our test T token and test Matic token. So this is what our testnet phase number 1 looks like. And first things first, you have to top up your balance. That's the first thing, because when you just first starting from the ground up, it's very likely that you will have zero balance. In order to top up your balance, you hit those 2 buttons to get some Matic and get some TE tokens. They're going to be added very soon. So what we can do here, we can create a new order, and I can walk you through this procedure. First of all, we have to select the solution that we're going to be using. We have 3 at this point: face recognition, speech recognition, image classification. Also, if you want to find out more on each of them, you can hit the link and it will get you to our GitHub repository where you can actually explore deeper. I'm going to go with image classification. This algorithm essentially, as an input, it receives a bunch of different images, and as a result, it just tells you what this image is. Like it categorizes the images. So I'm going to go with image classification, data. Now there's 2 preset data sets available. You can use any of them. Also, description available on our GitHub. I'm going to pick data set number 1, press add. Storage, where your result will be stored. I'm gonna be using store J. That's just single option here. Now T machine. These are the T machines that actually make our network work. That make our network work. We have 2 T machines. Each of them has 0 orders at this point. So also you see the characteristics for each of them: their cores, RAM, storage, and network. Let's pick up this one. Then file. I've chosen data set number 1, but if you have your own data and you want it to be processed, you can easily form an archive with one of those extensions right there and add it here, and your data will be processed instead of our data set. Now, encryption passphrase. This is the passphrase that you will use to decrypt your result. This is very important because without this passphrase, you won't be able to decrypt anything. You will just lose your order. And there's 2 ways you can use the generated one, like here, or you can enter your own if you have, if you can make up your own sequence of words, you can do so. But I'm going to be using the generated one. I press copy that. And finally, I understand and have saved the passphrase. I tick the box here. And yeah, also I have to deposit to make a small deposit in TE tokens. This is the default value for is is normally enough to create an offer. Once we will have more nodes on the network, the deposit value may rise. But for now, this is the deposit, and the values for.
Before we start, Dmitry, but we already started. It's important to say that you saw the storage which we used. You saw just one offer from storage. So Super Protocol is actually an ecosystem, and you have your own T provider, and you need to store data somewhere, which will be initially placed there. So actually it will be not only storage. In perspective, we're also talking with Filecoin, and it could also be included in the Super Protocol ecosystem. It's a really perfect match. So actually Filecoin and storage and many other storage providers can become a part of Super Protocol ecosystem as well. And answering the first and initial question, how will Super Protocol earn? So in the testnet, we get Matic and T, of course, by using the test facet. It's just used to simplify the process without, like going to some websites and dragging some test Matic tokens and generating some Ts. We just make some two buttons. But in the mainnet, of course, you will be able to get T by purchasing any DEX or maybe centralized exchanges. So that's a token ecosystem which initially will bring us to revenue generation. So actually, the order also, this is very important to mention that the phrase, the seed phrase, which Dmitry definitely saved, is like a guarantee that no one access the result of your data, because only you got a test passphrase, and after the order will be processed, you will be able to execute the data, I mean the archive, which will be the result. And before you do this, you'll need to enter the seed phrase. So literally no one can access your data except you and maybe some messenger where you copy pasted it.
Awesome. I'm curious. So, what are all of the ways that you guys are utilizing Polygon? Are you mainly just using it as a like settlement or payment layer?
We're utilizing Polygon, first things first, because of the low transaction fees. Obviously, in our scenario, we're going to have a bunch of transactions. And it's not like one customer comes just once in 2 weeks and they don't really care about the transaction fees that they're paying. We're trying to make the transaction fee as low as humanly possible. So that's why we're utilizing Polygon. And yeah, the mainnet is planned to be on Polygon. Yeah.
I think we can go through questions while the order is processing. I think it will take like 3 minutes.
I'm wondering if perhaps you want to go into the tokenomics a bit, because Adele is asking about the possibility of earning tokens through use of the project. What are all the ways you can earn tokens through using the project, and how does Super Protocol aim to combat inflation, like with token inflation? Yeah.
Really great question. I think I could start with this. First of all, this is really interesting how to earn. I think it's quite obvious from the ecosystem I described, because actually you can become TE provider. You can drag your super equipment into super protocol and start earning by outcoming the power that you have. You can actually, if you're a developer, if you know how to code the solutions and so on, I think that you also can earn on Super Protocol by deploying your own solutions, and on the mainnet, you will be able to. Someone will come, definitely, some company that will need your solution. Of course, it's you can actually check what's popular on existing centralized clouds and just make something which will be definitely useful. So you will be able to, of course, monetize your solutions. And of course, if you own data, you can as well monetize your data. So also there is an interesting opportunity to earn TE tokens before the mainnet launch. We are planning to launch the big creators and testers bounty program, as we are infrastructural project and we need more testers, more deployers. The more we can get, the better it will be for the for the ecosystem and for the community as well. Because when the mainnet will be launched, all the solutions which are built on testnet will be demanded. So during this creators bounty, which will be ended when the TGE, so you will be able to earn TE tokens before the TGE, but in the form of NFTs. So which you will be able to like reclaim when the TGE started. It's a great opportunity to earn TE tokens before the TGE, but by not providing your computational power or solutions, but you can earn TE tokens as well by providing your solutions in our Python contests and in testnet hackathon. I mean the testnet phase 2 hackathon, which we're playing in tournaments. And I believe that during this bounty, I hope we will mint definitely on Polygon those NFTs, which will be finally exchanged on TE tokens on the TGE. I think, Aiden, we should talk about this as well a little bit later after the AMA. Rare will be supporting us as well. So we plan to launch this bounty in the first quarter. So it's important information. Because actually after this AMA in our Discord channel, we got a pretty big community of developers, because it's not pretty big yet, but it will be, of course, as we are building an ecosystem. But this is most of the community are developers, and we are having great quizzes there about confidential computing, about Web3 infrastructures. And today we will have a special quiz about this AMA, about Super Protocol and Polygon and our synergy. So feel free to join our Discord and participate in this quiz. And keep updated, because there will be opportunities to earn TE tokens way before TGE.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to just repost all of the links. So here I have the website, Twitter, and Discord. So make sure to go give them a follow and jump in the Discord.
Yeah, so the most attentive listeners will be able to win actually physical rewards, 50 USDT, 3 winners in this quiz, which will be after AMA. So don't forget to join Discord. I think it could be a great bonus. And the best question, of course, will be awarded.
Perfect. All right, so everybody knows where to do that. This is an interesting question. I don't really know what you mean by this, Ivar, but is there any likelihood of a black swan event happening to confidential computing? And they're also wondering, why is confidential computing so important in Web3?
Yeah, that's a great question. We touched the base maybe in the beginning, but I think it's important to re-mention this. Confidential computing, first of all, is important in Web3 because Web3 is striving into decentralization, actually, and the decentralization is the core essence of Web3. And actually, clouds which are used for decentralized applications, which are claiming to be decentralized, they are not fully decentralized because clouds are centralized. So AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, they all centralized, so they are vulnerable to different outages, to malicious scripts, attacks, and so on. So to fully decentralize Web3 infrastructure, it's obvious that we need to decentralize clouds. And we cannot decentralize clouds without using confidential computing because blockchain make it possible to bring decentralization. However, not all the data can be confidential on the blockchain, of course, and blockchain is transparent. So there is that's why confidential computing is important for the whole Web3. I mean, not Web3 like some kind of NFTs and so on, but it's also, of course, because, for example, there is like NFTs which are evolving, the new type of NFTs, dynamic NFTs, as far as I know. For example, they will need confidential computing as well. There will be definitely sensitive information. So for the core Web3, it's important to bring decentralized infrastructure, and decentralized infrastructure couldn't be brought without confidential computing. So that's why it is important.
Perfect. Yeah, well said. Yeah, definitely. You guys are
Also,
covering it.
Aiden,
Yeah, go ahead.
getting back to the question about how we're gonna combat the inflation, I have to mention a couple of words. There's a token distribution, and you can read about this in detail in our white paper. But there's a big slice, relatively big slice, devoted to demand stimulus. So we're gonna be able to, control supply and demand in the initial stages, where there's gonna be there might be a lack of TE machines or, for example, customers or any sort of clients in any category. So we're left some leverage for us to control the situation and create some stimulus for different categories of people on the protocol. Yeah.
Great. We are running up on time, so if anybody else has any questions they want to ask, make sure to get those in now. And I'm curious, Dimitri and Alex, I feel like personally this has been really comprehensive. You guys have done an excellent job explaining some pretty complicated things in ways that I think everyone can understand. But is there anything else that you guys wanted to cover that you haven't already had the chance to?
Yeah, I think we can cover that the order is processed already, and we can get the result.
The order is done. We can take a look at the results now. I paste the encryption phrase, passphrase that I copied earlier, press get result button, and yes, success file downloaded successfully. Now we've got an archive here, and we can dive into output folder and open output.csv file. And let's take a look at what's inside.
All right. Kelpit's got some important questions. I want to make sure we get these answered for them. So they're wondering, will this be available for other programming languages apart from Python? And how will you guys cope up with Web2 players in terms of infrastructure, usage fees, and being decentralized at the same time? I know you already answered that a little bit, but if you want to just rehash, that'd be great.
Yeah, actually, great question. So about the developers, actually, you can, if you know any language, you can already start getting well known with Super Protocol. The second phase will be for JS, Node.js, JavaScript. So, Java, JS, Node.js. So, this third phase will be also for Ruby, and I think Solidity will be as well. So actually, you can see the whole bunch of the developers type spectra while you will be filling up the type form, because there you will be able to choose what language, what programming language you use, on what language you code specifically and preferably. So it's not just like a usual type form; it's a testnet application form. So we need to know what language you know, because maybe you're not like compatible for this phase, but in a couple of months the next phase will be launched, and we will send the invitation and notification as well as incentive information. So actually, literally for anyone, so any code language you know, you can use on the cloud. So you don't question AWS on what language should I code when deploying on this cloud. You just code and go and deploy. So for anyone. And the second part of the question, I'm sorry, about the cost. So as far there are actually many cases on the market where centralized clouds are just raising their costs and raising because the ecosystem is focused on that, and it's actually equipment which is also cost money, and it's actually time of service. So in Super Protocol and actually in Web3, it is, as we already tested, it will be definitely cheaper than the traditional clouds, and the more infrastructure will grow and be scaled, the cheaper it should become. However, the more team machines we will connect to the Super Protocol network, the more obvious the results will be. So we will be posting, of course, what we are doing and what experiments we are conducting, and all the results are actually public, because like a couple of on the previous week, actually, we speed up our orders, complex orders execution speed by 3 times by implementing the exact Python solution, which is really compatible with all the networks. So we posted in our Twitter. Also, we have researched some SGX moments and all as well, posted it on our Twitter. So just stay tuned, follow us on Twitter, join our Discord. Discord is really interesting because there are only developers mostly. So yeah, I think that's it.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm really excited about this project. I think you guys are solving some really important problems. So yeah, this has been incredible. I'm really thankful to have had the opportunity to have you guys here speaking with me and the Polygon community. So this has been wonderful. Thanks you so much.
Thank you so much, Aiden, for
Amazing.
to be here, and it's really important, I think, to speak more about confidential computing and the future of Web3 infrastructure, because I think those days many people just starting to getting to know the Web3 and why it's better than the usual web, and more people will join, and we need really
Yeah.
really reliable infrastructure for those people to come.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. You can't really stress the importance of this kind of technology or infrastructure enough, especially when so much of the existing infrastructure we use is dependent on AWS, right? So, um,
Yeah.
anyways, I think we did a good job answering everybody's questions and did a really good job explaining Super Protocol. So yeah, I'm definitely really excited to talk more in future and do definitely gonna have to do some more AMAs in future and stay up to date with everything that you guys are doing.
Yeah, so if anyone's questions wasn't touched somehow, or you haven't just asked it, you may join our Discord and ask it there. We got even the testnet channel. We got our CTO, so you can ask anything, literally anything, even in technical part of the protocol.
Perfect. Yeah, all the links are in the text channel for this voice channel. And I also dropped a Google form for POAPs. POAPs are proof of attendance protocol. So it's just a nice little NFT to commemorate your attendance here today. If you'd like one, just submit your wallet address in the form and I will make sure you get one. And with that said, thank you again, Alex and Dimitri. It's been awesome having you guys here today.
Yeah,
Thank
likewise.
you, Andy.
So much. Thank you so much. And maybe I think definitely to add one point, which will be also important on our quiz. That's was a great question about tokenomics and the T token. So actually, we have already held a great event, promo staking. It was connected with, of course, staking of T, like the token utility. It was a phase one. So we will launch the second phase in the first quarter of 2023 of promo staking to leverage more on TE functionality. It will be also important for the quiz. So I'm sorry.
Perfect, perfect. All right, with that said, I think we're probably good to wrap everything up. So thank you again, everybody, for showing up today and making this such an awesome AMA. And thanks again, Alex and Dimitri. All right, I'm going to get going now. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, bye everyone.